Depressed, suicidal, or otherwise extremely downtrodden members of Reddit, what is your go-to quote, phrase, or particular memory in life that keeps you going? Whenever I'm having a particularly bad day where everything seems to go wrong, I tell myself that I only have to live today once. Tomorrow might not be better, but it will be different. Ah, what fresh hell is this? Edit, damn, thanks to the people who spent money on this Dorothy Parker quote. I'll pour out a financially equivalent bottle of whatever on her grave in thanks. If you thought this was an original quote, well, can you ever forgive me? Paraphrased, it's not that you want to die. You just want your life as it is right now to end. I had this talk with my therapist yesterday. I wouldn't characterize myself as suicidal at all, but when a bad depression episode or anxiety attack hits, all I can think about is wanting to die or just not be here anymore. It's all very fleeting and typically goes away once I've calmed down. She told me that they're just thoughts and they typically mean that you just don't want to feel that way anymore. Not that I genuinely wish death upon myself, I just wish to not feel so absolutely shitty. And in that moment, because of years of depression, self-harm, and suicidal ideation, my brain just doesn't know where else to go. Edit, thanks for the silvers. I'm glad I could shed a small light on such dark thoughts. Edit 2, and gold. Thank you, thank you. And this is the root of the "this too shall pass" quote. It's applicable to many people who have suicidal thoughts, I think. Once you go through a certain number of episodes, it clicks for you that you can get past it. It makes getting past each one that much easier. I think to myself now, I've gotten this far. Can't quit now. I feel like the worst is in the past now. There's a poem by Galway Kinnell titled "Wait" that he wrote for a friend suffering from depression. The first stanza reads, "Wait, for now. Distrust everything if you have to. But trust the hours, haven't they carried you everywhere, up to now?" It's a beautiful sentiment, I think. He goes on to promise that things will become interesting again. Will become lovely again. Edit, I stepped away from Reddit for a couple of months and made a new account just to post this today. Makes me happy to see how much it has resonated with people, and to see people sharing things about the poem and poet that are new to me as well. Most of all, it makes me happy to see people say I don't get poetry, but this is really great surprise, you do get poetry. The memory of my best friend keeps me going. She didn't get a chance to live her life. So on the days when I'd rather not live for me, I live for her instead. Edit, I'm so touched to see that this comment resonated with so many people. You are all amazing people and we're in this together, we will make it through this. Your loved ones would be very proud of all of you. Same. My best friend killed herself in 2015, the day before Mother's Day, and since then, I live for her daughter who she left behind and now my own daughter. I started taking antidepressants a few years ago and go by the phrases "be here now, thank you Andy Whitfield, and this too shall pass." My cat wouldn't understand where I went. Edit, wow, thanks for the gold and silver everyone. I really didn't expect this to blow up the way it did and don't really know where to start responding. If anyone is thinking that they are alone and nobody cares about them, remember you're always important to somebody or something. And this comment tree proves you're not the only one thinking the same thing. I procrastinate a lot, to the point of self-sabotage. The only thing that gets me out of it is he who does not obey himself will be commanded. A man who procrastinates in his choosing will inevitably have his choice made for him by circumstance. Works for me. This is a good one. You can't escape sacrifice. If you really want to achieve something, then you will have to make some sacrifices, or else the thing you want to achieve will be the sacrifice. Edit, while my first gold. Thank you. The memory that keeps me from attempting suicide is when I tried it the first time. Edit, thank you so much, all the kind words, plus the silver and gold. This happened about 5 years ago, and I've come a long way since then, so I'm doing okay now. At the time, there'd been months of tension between me and my family, and I felt like I'd failed as a daughter, an oldest sister, and a young adult in general. I only wish it didn't take swallowing 150 painkillers to realize how much my family really loved me. Also, spending Christmas in the hospital was the worst. Glad you're still with us, Redditor. Keep going. Don't kill the person inside you who wants to be alive. Every time I feel down and/or have suicidal thoughts, I think about the part of me who went through so much shit to get to this place. I don't want to throw away the effort of that person. I remember that when I was younger, 30-ish, Anytime trouble or adversity would come my way, I would throw myself on my bed and just want to die rather than try and see that it was just a moment in time and that things would get better. I believe that this was my mindset because of a propensity towards depression, because of how I was raised by a very depressed mom who had no emotional tools to cope with life. She had a very crappy lot in life when younger. A lot of my helplessness was learned, not all of it, a lot is very much biological. I do suffer with depression at times and I have to fight off discouraging thoughts much more than other people. But I also know the difference of when depression has a hold of me and my thoughts are not really me now, and that helps me fight for a return to reality and peace. I was very immature on knowing how to handle life and took it all too very seriously! Now I try and loosen up. Moods come and moods go. I respect my feelings and those of others. I also had to change my expectations of life. Not all of us are going to be super bright orbs of light. Some stars are just happy to do their little light thing and just light up their little patch in the sky. That is me and I am happy with that. Just wanted to chime in and say I think your orb is pretty bright, internet stranger. Shine on. Thank you. The image of my mom devastated. I couldn't do that to her. Me too. I know my mom would be absolutely destroyed and I don't want to do that to her because she has already had a lot of tough experiences in life. You are correct. Your mom would be devastated. Thank you for caring about her. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. Fro Milton's Paradise Lost. If you're going through hell, keep going. Winston Churchill quote. Success is the ability to go from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Winston Churchill words to live by. My youngest brother. I practically raised that kid, and when I moved out of my parents' house he attempted suicide. I've been suicidal this past year, but just the thought of him taking his life because I did, I can't do that to him. His therapist had asked me to see him as often as possible. In going bowling with him today, edit, wow. This blew up. Thank you so much, kind strangers, for sharing your stories and reaching out. We both had an amazing time bowling and playing billiards. Edit 2, thanks you so much for popping my silver cherry, bowling. Have fun, man. A brother's love is something unique that should never be thrown away. Edit, unless you're a Umalenko 86. My meds keep me going, duck a quote. Edit, I'd just like to add, that if quotes are what helps you, that's fine. I'm not gonna gatekeep and tell you what should and shouldn't work for you. I understand that meds don't work for everyone, and that it's hard to figure out the right meds for you. Shit, I'm waiting on blood test results right now, cause my meds have kinda plateaued. Anyway, I just want to make it clear that if you use quotes, I'm not trying to look down on that. Words can be powerful. Yeah, I was about to quote, 300 milligrams bupropion, Dr. Baker Ducken, inspirational. The past need not become our future as well. You're not a failure, things just failed. Said to me by someone on Imgur. I also like it's all a shit sandwich and everybody's gotta eat. It makes me realize that it's all just chaos, and nobody has shit figured out, we're all just doing our best. Edit, I did some digging on my old Imgur account to find that exact quote that person shares with me, and there was more to it that I really like, so I am leaving it here. You're not a failure, things just failed. Every breakdown has an opportunity to be a breakthrough. I really love this quote from BoJack Horseman, it gets easier. Every day it gets a little easier. But you gotta do it every day, that's the hard part. But it does get easier. BoJack makes my depression much worse, not better. I think the tone of his inner voice is too close to mine in some ways. That's part of what makes it a good show to me. I just know now not to start watching it when I'm already in a bad headspace. But then I watch it when I'm doing well, and it doesn't just push my buttons, it yeets them into the stratosphere. As someone who was raised by narcissists, there's a lot of triggery stuff for me. The Princess Carolyn story last season reminded me of my mom and hit close to home to the point where I put the show down for a few weeks. TLDR, if you're already depressed, BoJack can make things worse, not better. It can be good for processing stuff if that's what works for you. Season 6 Episode 4 Stupid Piece of Shit. I had to put the show down for a couple days and go back to finish the episode when I was in a better headspace because BoJack's inner voice was way too close to mine. It was like looking into an ugly mirror and I was not ready for it. Yay, that episode was really the thing that made me realize how negative my thoughts regarding myself were and are to a lesser extent. It was a weird glimpse of myself. I wasn't ready to take it first, but eventually after rewatching it, It helps point out the absurdity of those thoughts to myself sometimes. Hope you are doing well. 3.